Episode 5 of the Mount Rushmore Series NFL edition. We are now at the running back position. Carl Coulange for the Sports Hit List, by the fans and for the fans. Thank you for joining me on this Mount Rushmore series developed by my NFL contributors. Let me introduce my panel. We have Chuck. Chuck, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, Carl. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. We have the commissioner, self-proclaimed commissioner of the Sports Hit List, Mr. Ray. How you doing, bro?
Always good, always good.
We have the reigning, defending MVP. I don't know if he's winning it this year because I seem to have Ray Jarvis seems to be an early candidate for all his promos against me. Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, from here on out, just call me Paul the Great, man. It's good seeing you guys. It's always a pleasure to be back, and let's rock out.
And we have the baseball / football / political / basketball analyst, Mr. Greg Polius. Greg, you choose the title you want. How you doing, bro?
Call me super utility, bro. I do it all.
All right. So you guys know how this is played in Mount Rushmore. We have a running back. A lot of people believe that this position only really has 5 people, so I'm interested to see who has on their list. Let's go Greg Polius first. Greg, who's on your top 4 Mount Rushmore for the running back position?
So, first of all, Carl, long time no see.
Right? Yeah, we pull a double-header today.
Thank you for letting me go first, unlike the last Mount Rushmore. But I'm going to go in no particular order. Got to go Jim Brown, Eric Dickerson, okay, Walter Payton, and my man Barry Sanders.
Okay, Eric Dickerson, Walter Payton.
Woo!
Oh, make sure you get the Eric Dickerson with the Jerry curl and the big goggles.
Okay.
You got to make sure you get the picture with him crying about the uniforms.
And Greg, and Greg, who was your last pick again?
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders. Got it.
Woo!
All right, MVP, you're up next.
Hey, man, you know, me and Greg got a couple names the same. So we're going to go with Sweetness, a.k.a. Walter Payton. Emmitt Smith, right? The GOAT, right?
What?
Marshall Faulk makes my Mount Rushmore.
Man.
And Adrian Peterson, AP all day. AP Mr. 2K.
Okay, so MVP has Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Marshall Faulk, and Adrian Peterson. Commissioner, you're on the clock.
Well, you know, they already got some of my picks. In fact, they got all of them, Paul and Greg. I got Eric Dickerson. Dude was just a monster, man. You watch his tapes, he just was a man among boys, man. Like, you seen it. He would just leave you as soon as he got that little crease. He was gone. Marshall Faulk, dude, to me, he was the all-purpose type of running back. He could catch, he could run, he did it all. For 3 straight seasons, he had over 1,300 yards and 750 yards receiving. You know what I'm saying? He was an MVP. He basically could do it all. I think he is the best dual threat running back ever in the NFL.
Wow, that's high praise.
Agreed.
Barry Sanders, what can I say? He is the last generational talent, Giants fans. The last generational talent. He basically was a 10-time Pro Bowler his whole career, all pro. 10 times he made either first team or second team. He finished with 15,000 yards, and he definitely would have demolished the all-time rushing record if he didn't retire early. And he basically did it. What was that?
I said he absolutely would have demolished. It wouldn't have been close.
Hey, Carl. Tell him about the if word, baby. The ifs, if he didn't, if.
There are no ifs in sports. We only have facts.
Hey, there's no ifs, but we all know the man finished.
What if he would have got hurt?
The man finished 4th and he retired early.
We don't use ifs in sports. We use facts.
What if he got injured?
Who's your last guy?
You're right. And then the last one, of course, you know, it's my guy right here. My guy.
Yes, sir.
It's my guy right here. You see this? This is my guy right here.
Oh,
y'all see that? Whoa. It's my guy. Emmitt Smith. What can I say? He is the reason for our 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. You know, Irvin was there, Aikman was there, but once Emmitt got there, the Cowboys became legit. He was the offense. He was the main. he was the engine to the offense. 11 straight years of 1,000 yards rushing, MVP, Super Bowl MVP. And my favorite game was against the Giants, the separated shoulder game. 32 carries, 168 yards, 10 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, he just completely showed his heart that game. Played with his separated shoulder, led us to the dub. We got home field advantage because of that game. And
all
not
right.
much I can say.
Okay, so we go Eric Dickerson, Marshall Faulk, Barry Sanders, and Emmitt Smith. Chuck, you're on the clock.
All right, I just want to give a quick honorable mention, shout out to my boy Curtis Martin. Just want to throw that out there. Greg, I know that you could agree with me. Curtis Martin was a dog. All right, so just want to get that out of the way. Carl, it basically came down to 5 guys for me, and it was tough to leave one out, but these were the 4 I came out with. Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, and Barry Sanders.
Okay.
Those were the 4.
And who did you leave out?
Eric Dickerson.
And because?
I don't know. It's just something about those other guys that just stuck with me. It was tough. I've been sitting here for the past 2 days trying to figure out what guy I would leave off. If this was the top 5, I could have said all 5, but it was tough to leave out just the one, and I felt like I had to go with those 4 over Dickerson.
Okay, so you said Jim. So can you say them one more time for me, Chuck? I'm sorry. Jim
Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Sanders.
Yep.
Emmitt Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And Walter Payton.
Walter Payton.
It was tough. It was very tough. But
okay, so we pretty much have no objections to everyone's list. Everyone's list is kind of similar. So again, the same question I asked the other panels: is that position really limited to the greats?
Absolutely not.
There's so many. There's a lot more, man. To be honest.
Yeah, I think these guys are just so head and heels above the rest of the pack that it's tough to put other guys over them. But in the next 10 years, that might be different.
I don't know, Greg. I don't think so. I think with this list, when you think about we named 16 guys, a lot of them were duplicates, but what they all have in common is longevity, which the sport does not allow anymore for the running back position.
Not at all.
And I think that's when you start thinking about these all-time numbers, dude, like you gotta play 15 years to get 12,000 rushing yards. You know what I'm saying? These guys don't even play 10 years anymore, 8 years. So I think that's the challenge.
That's definitely a challenge, but there are some guys at the position where you can see, like Adrian Peterson, who will come in and have that longevity and be able to challenge. It won't be a lot.
Hey, AP on the list already, baby. He on the list.
I forgot you put him on your list.
Greg,
he's on the list.
The way the game is, it's basically 2 running back system. Mostly every team has 2 running backs, and like what NFL players are doing, what NFL teams are doing now, the running back is probably the least expensive one. They just get them first round, 4 or 5 years. They don't want to pay them. Just get another one. I don't think this rushing record will ever be broken anymore. I mean,
absolutely.
You have to look at the carries some of these guys were getting. They were getting 300 carries a year.
If Frank Gore plays another 5 years,
he still won't. He still probably won't even crack the top 3.
So Chuck, I noticed you left.
Frank Gore's top 3 already.
He's top 3.
Yeah.
How much he has?
Frank Gore has 15,347.
16, huh?
15.
Oh, 15. So he's
3,000
away.
Don't worry, he'll get 200 yards this year.
Chuck, I noticed you left Marshall Faulk off your list. Did he even crack in on your top? Was he in your discussion?
No. I mean, Faulk was always great, but I don't know. It's just that these 5 guys I always saw as like the top tier of the running backs, and without a doubt, Marshall Faulk is a top 10 back. But I don't think I could put him into that top 5 convo. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I just felt like these 5 guys, and I hate to leave off Dickerson, is killing me, but these guys kind of paved the way to what a workhorse running back is. And to go back
Chucky, let me stop you for a second there, Chucky.
Marshall Faulk was a workhorse, bro.
Let me tell you.
I agree with you.
Chucky, Marshall Faulk has almost 13,000 rushing yards. And 7,000, he has more receiving yards
Yeah.
No,
and
I
then
agree.
over 500 receivers all time, right? Like, he won Offensive Player of the Year 3 years in a row. He's actually one of the very few, I don't think anyone's done it, 1,000 on the ground, 1,000 in the air, right?
Yeah.
For the Rams. And he didn't play on a team where he was, like, loaded, right? I mean, you figure Torrey Holt had 120 catches. No, Greg, I see you fix your face. I meant like he was overworked, right? Torrey Holt got 120 grabs. Isaac Bruce had 130 catches.
The greatest show on turf.
Tony Horn was getting catches. Everybody was eating in St. Louis. And my man went out there and produced numbers. He is the reason the running back position is the way it is today, right? And the other guy I left off my list, which was a close call, was LaDainian Tomlinson, right? Literally is a mirror image of Marshall Faulk with probably a better running ability, right? Just because of where he came from, right? Literally changed the actual position of the sport. It's why we think Saquon's so generational, why we love Christian McCaffrey, and all the long lists in between those guys. It's why we love him so much, right? Marshall Faulk overdid it, in my opinion, bro. Like, I couldn't leave Faulk off the list. I couldn't.
Okay, so now this is where it gets interesting. MVP, I'll give you the first pick. Who goes on the ultimate Mount Rushmore hit list?
I mean, I just gave you an advocate for my man Marshall Faulk. And here's what I'm going to tell you, right? If you do not have Marshall Faulk on your Mount Rushmore, then something's wrong with you, man.
So that means there's something wrong with Chuck.
Faulk is my guy, right? Number 28, historic. Marshall Faulk's the guy. From Indy to St. Louis, Faulk is Mount Rushmore for Paul the Great.
Okay, Greg, who's on your list? Pick
Barry
one.
Barry Sanders, my guy.
Barry Sanders.
You know, I thought about Barry Sanders, man. I did.
Okay.
But I thought about all those rushing yards that didn't equate to victories. That's why I didn't put him on the list.
You thought about that -2 performance against Green
Okay,
Bay.
Chuck, you're on the clock.
All right, I'm gonna go with Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
That's a good one. It was going to be Barry or Jim Brown for me.
Oh,
you guys are so nice for the commissioner. You guys just basically gave him an alley-oop to finish
Not
this
really.
out. No, you really did.
Absolutely not. Because now you're saying Emmitt Smith over Walter Payton, right?
And you really believe this is the man in episode 2 who,
I don't know, bro.
Picked Lily. You really believe in your heart of hearts he's gonna pick somebody else? Like, come on now.
You know who I'm going with. He's the
man.
leader.
All right, but Paul, you're so upset that Walter Payton is not on the list, but you had the first pick and you took Marshall Faulk.
I took Marshall Faulk because the rest of you guys wouldn't take Marshall Faulk. This is a game of chess, not checkers, all right?
Okay,
that's why I took Bob Lilly. That's why I took Lilly.
So Commissioner, you're going with Emmitt Smith, right?
No doubt.
Okay. Emmitt Smith. So we have Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown, Marshall Faulk. Are we happy with that list?
No, man. We're not happy with that list, man.
Payton on the list.
Made the cut. I'm good.
So Walter Payton got left off. And we're not switching unless someone's going to switch.
Take Jim Brown off the list.
That's Chuck's pick. Chuck, are you going to take that off the list or no?
No, because then, listen, if I sit here and take Walter Payton and then Jim Brown's on the list, so it's
Jim Brown.
I got no issue with Jim Brown.
I would say take Barry Sanders off the list. That's what I would say.
You can't take Barry off. Stop it.
He only played 10 seasons, bro.
And he put in work. Stop.
And he was dominant back in the league from the moment he got in the league.
No, because he was in the league with Emmitt Smith. How? How can he be the most dominant back in the league if he was in the league with Smith?
1, 2, 3.
I'm a
Cowboy
fan.
That's like saying Steph Curry was the most dominant player on the court, but LeBron is in the league.
That's different. Everybody knows
that's a different
Curry.
Wasn't the best at his position.
But you see, here's the issue though, is that you guys are not satisfied, but no one's willing to sacrifice a pick to put Walter Payton on the
Barry
list.
Sanders, man.
Paul's fault. Listen,
If you watch
once Paul took Ty Law in the cornerback,
Whoa.
that was the end. That was the end.
Whoa. Ty Law.
Paul lost all credibility after that.
Wow.
Wasn't that in episode 1? Was that
Wow.
in episode 1?
Yeah,
That was
I was taking notes. I couldn't
Wow.
believe this guy picked Ty Law.
You want a winless Champ Bailey over Ty Law, the New
Bailey?
England GOAT?
I
The New
I
England
never said
GOAT?
Champ Bailey should have been there.
I mean,
Listen,
Champ
listen,
Bailey made the list.
As I said before, it is what it is. Everyone gets one pick, so you guys are just gonna have to deal with the.
All right,
this
man. I'm gonna
congregation.
take one.
Deal them on my list. I'm
Check
good.
this out. I'm gonna take one only out of the respect of the greatness of sweetness. My man has over 2,100 yards from scrimmage. Walter Payton with the white headband made headbands famous in football. I wasn't even born yet, bro. You know what I'm saying? Walter Payton has to be on the list. So if it means Marshall Faulk isn't on the list, be my guest, bro.
Okay, so Marshall Faulk is coming off for Walter Payton.
Man, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders.
So we have Walter Payton, Jim Brown, Emmitt Smith, and Barry Sanders. I will ask this question again. Are we satisfied with the second list?
I'm satisfied with the second list, but this Barry Sanders slander needs to go. It has to stop. Absolutely has to stop.
Okay, so Greg is satisfied. Commissioner, are you satisfied?
I'm not, because why you ain't have to change your pick, Paul. That's how you felt. That's how you felt. You should have kept with it. Stuck with it.
Chuck, are you satisfied with part 2?
That much conviction in that pick.
Carl.
It was crazy.
Chuck, go ahead.
Carl, I'm satisfied with the list because these were the 4 that I initially picked, so I win.
Okay, so
That's an
Paul,
MVP performance right there.
Paul, I'm going to use Regis Philbin's, is this your final answer?
I can't do Walter Payton. I can't do Walter Payton like that, bro. Like, my love for the game and the disrespect for Walter Payton is crazy. I can't do that to Walter.
All right,
man.
so we're sticking with Walter Payton. So final answer on the board, the hit list of Mount Rushmore: Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown, and Walter Payton. That does it for the running back position. All right?
Cool.
Yeah.
I got 2.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on the Sports Hit List by the fans, for the fans, Mount Rushmore, Episode 5. Episode 6, I think we're going into the wide receiver position. So stay tuned for that next week. I think Greg is on that panel. I have to check my schedule, but please stay tuned for that. That's where we get really interesting. Then we have the quarterback and the coach to close it out. Please make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to the Sports Hit List by the fans, for the fans. Make sure you check us out Wednesdays live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network at 4 o'clock. And we also have the debate of the summer coming in 2 weeks. Carl Coulage versus Ray Jarvis. The 08 era KG Celtics, are they overrated or not? That's the main event. I know everyone.
Absolutely.
Special shout out to Ray for being on my side and staying.
That's right.
In the
That's
zone.
right.
All you other guys, you already know how I feel. Check the promos. I'm not going to address it right now. You know how I feel about y'all. And Chuck, you're on the fence because you're doing this little bit, but I know where you really lie. So it's all good, man. I know. You guys take care.
Winning side, bro.
You guys take care.
NWO forever, B.
You guys take care. Please make sure you're staying safe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.